Hi, hello, welcome to my channel. Today I'm filming the anti-TBR tag. I'm kind of late to film this tag, but it's here right now, and I have some tea to spill. This is the only disclaimer I'm going to give, but if you are someone who does not like seeing your favorite book be not someone else's cup of tea, I wouldn't necessarily watch this video. There's so many other videos you could be watching in your time. In no way am I saying these books are objectively bad. Just personally for me, I don't enjoy them as much as I enjoy the books I actually do enjoy. That being said, no hard feelings. Got it? This tag was created by Nicole, I believe, so I'll link her channel down below. She's wonderful. Please go check her out. Alright, the first question is a book everyone loves that you have no interest in reading. I have quite a few answers for this one because I think my TBR is kind of skinny, kind of on the low ratio end. It's under 500 books, which maybe actually sounds like a lot, but to me that sounds like maybe doable in another lifetime. So the answers I have for this question is no matter how long my life is, I don't think I'll be picking up Game of Thrones. I do love the show. I really do. I am a fan. One of the best plot building, world building, character development, well, other than the last seasons, shows that I've ever seen in my life. But I just have no interest reading the books. I do believe they're better, like obviously, but those books are just too thick, too big. Another book that's kind of popular is Call Me By Your Name. I did see the movie in like 8th grade. I do love the soundtrack, but it's just like not my thing. I feel like I'd be so uncomfortable the whole time. It sounds atmospheric and obviously a lot of people resonate with it or like it for what it is, but to me, I'm just gonna avoid it because I don't necessarily want to read it. Not for any particular reason that stands out. It's just not something that I think I'm gonna particularly like. Just some quick ones. Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. Yeah, never interested me. I did read Fangirl though, but like I have no interest in reading that series at all. Also, the To All the Boys I Loved Before series, I'm sure it's a great one, but you know, I've already seen the movies for it, and I feel like if I really wanted to read it, I would have read it before the movies came out because I had time to. So that's something unfortunately I'm not gonna pick up. And lastly, Red Queen. I'm not gonna read that. I have heard majority negative things for it, but you know, there's always that dystopian that might hit in a different way, but this isn't going to be the one for me because I'm never going to read it. The next book is a classic you have no interest in reading. I have quite a few ones for this considering I don't read classics a lot. If you look at my Goodreads, I'll link it down below. Every book on my to read that's a classic, it's one I want to read. Every book that's not on my to read that's a classic is a book I don't want to read. But the one I can like think about right now is like Lolita. I think it's a classic. If it's not, ignore me. Maybe I'm not a booktuber, maybe I'm not a reader. It just sounds so uncomfortable, and again, nothing against people that enjoy it per se, but it's just not my cup of tea, and I just feel like I'm gonna read it and just be grossed out. I'm sure the writing is great. I'm sure there's characterization that's, you know, top tier or whatever, but it just, everything about it just does not make me want to pick it up. So it's just not for me. If it's for you, that's fine. Just not for me. The third question is an author you have no interest in reading. I have two answers for this. It's the author of the Maze Runner series. I'm pretty sure he's problematic, to be honest, but also I just have no interest in reading the Maze Runner series. Like, I watched the movies. I think they're better than the book because that's what I've heard. I've never read anything by him, and I don't plan to. The next author on this list is Cami Garcia. I feel like she wrote the Beautiful Creatures series. I did read The Lovely Reckless by her, and I just feel like her books just aren't my type, aren't my thing. I really like authors who surprise me and add something new into every book they write, and I just don't feel like Cami Garcia is for me. She has a lot of staples in the book community, especially in the earlier generations and all of that. If you read the Beautiful Creatures series, let me know if it was your thing. I know never say never and all of that, but I just don't feel like I'm gonna be reading anything from her. Alright, next is question 3.2, a problematic author that you have no interest in reading from. For that, I'm gonna choose Stephen King. I have absolutely no inclination in my body to support any of his works for a number of reasons. I have read Carrie by him, 3 stars. I guess. It's just really sad to just see the things he writes and says and believes, considering so many books of his are recommended to me, like Pet Sematary, Sleeping Beauties. There's so many books of his that are held to such a high standard in the thriller and horror genre that I genuinely want to read. But him as a person just sounds like the most absolute trash kind of guy that I have ever heard of. I don't want to support him. I don't want to read any more of his works. Also, like, the community of Stephen King fans, Alright, number 4, an author you've read a couple of books from and decided they weren't for you. This is kind of difficult because every book I decide to read, as I said before and on my TBR, is genuinely a book I think I'm gonna like. But you know, BookTube really likes to rave about those like white contemporary female authors like Lauren Oliver, Morgan Matson, and I've read some of their books and they're just not my taste anymore. If you're in for a good contemporary and all of that kind of stuff with those characters like Sarah Dessen, all of that, go for it. Those are the books for you. Just that's not my taste anymore, and I just feel like really mediocre reading those. Plus I just feel like they're really repetitive, those kind of books. It's just like it's a me thing. Yeah, my taste has evolved and what I've read from them hasn't really impressed me. Number 5, a genre you have no interest in reading or a genre you've tried and you couldn't get into. I'm gonna say science fiction for that, although that's not technically fair because I haven't tried that hard to get into it. I read for enjoyment and like pleasure, and like reading things that remind me of school don't really make me enjoy it. There are genres I don't pick up that often that I do want to read more, like memoirs and nonfiction, things like that. But what I look for in a story is mainly like character development. Say it with me now. As a character-based reader and as someone who values the plot, I just feel like in science fiction and sometimes historical fiction too, it gets a bit info dumpy and the setting or the world building overtakes the main storyline. I particularly don't like that. If you have any recs though that are mainly character-based science fiction or books that are like really hard-hitting science fiction, I would love to pick it up and try it maybe. Yeah, it was just never my thing. Number 6, a book you bought and you'll never read. I don't buy books unless I like them or they're already one of my favorites. That's just always the type of person I am. No deeper meaning to that, no consumerism debate or anything. That's just who I am. So I'm just gonna talk about books I've DNF'd. I plan on making a books I've DNF'd video. The first is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. I don't think his writing style is particularly for me again. His characters I do agree are interesting, and especially the concepts he thinks of, but I'm just like not excited to read his books, and I just have better books on my TBR that I'm more excited to read and more inclined to read rather than the books he writes. I really tried, I was excited for it. I realized I'm saying a lot of YA names in here, and maybe it's just like the YA genre in general. I need to expand what I typically consume. And next, number 7, a series you have no interest in reading or continuing, and I'm going to choose The Darkest Minds. I read the first book for it because I wanted to read the book before I saw the movie, and then I just never watched the movie. So yeah, I read the first book and I was like, maybe I'll pick up the second book, but again, dystopian YA, common theme in this video. I felt like I knew where it was going and there's nothing really keeping me there, keeping me excited to read the next book and see where the storyline continues. I just don't plan on reading that series ever. Lastly, number 8, a new release that you have no interest in reading. I don't really keep up with new releases, especially hyped ones, because I realize, you know, hype is there for a reason. If a lot of people are following that book and a lot of people are liking it, there's got to be something in there that you can appreciate. And for that, I'm choosing The King of Elfame. I don't even know what it's called. It's that Holly Black fan service book. It seems cool. I know a lot of people love the series, and good for you. I'm glad you liked it. For me, that series wasn't my cup of tea until like the later books. It wasn't exactly a series I particularly liked. I do plan on reading Holly Black books in the future. Like, I do believe some of her books and some elements she puts in there for me. I'll link my June wrap up down below that talks about it if you're interested on my in-depth detailed thoughts, because I did enjoy the later books in that series. Alright, that's it. That's my anti-TBR tag. I hope there's no hard feelings there, and I hope I did not demolish your favorite book, because at the end of the day, it's my opinion. Maybe never say never is maybe a thing, and maybe I'll pick some of these up, but like, life is too short. Read what you want to read when you want to read it. Books are books in the end, and I hope you recognize that. That's it, and thank you so much for watching.